Guy from WTHI, welcoming you to another podcast edition of the WTHI Pet Saver segment. Joining me today is Lucy, who is a blue and gold macaw. He's about 3 years old. And today what we're going to be showing and demonstrating for you is how to maintain their wings, their beaks, and their nails. So right now we have Mr. Lucy right here, who is anesthetized, and basically Dr. Staub is going to show us and kind of tell us a few pointers on how to maintain, your overall health of your bird. And this doesn't really go for parrots, but cockatoos, conures, what other kind of birds?
Cockatiels. Really all birds have pretty much the same issues.
Okay. So how often would you recommend to have their wings trimmed?
Usually about every couple of months they need their beaks and nails and wings done.
Okay, all right. Obviously the beaks are kind of be really long and so forth, but what are the few things in terms of like trimming these wings right here, what you're going to be wanting to be careful with?
Well, with him, you can see he's got a beautiful wingspan. He's got, when you trim the wings, you have to look for the feathers that are called blood feathers, and that's what these are. These are actually growing feathers, and if you cut those, they'll bleed. And if you cut them bad enough, the bird can bleed to death, actually. If a bird, just as a pointer, if a bird would happen, you have a bird at home and it would happen to damage one of these blood feathers, the treatment for it is just to pull it out, because that'll seal the root.
Really?
Yeah, that'll seal the feather root, so it won't bleed anymore. So if you have a bleeding feather, try to get a hold of it, pull it out. If you can't and the bleeding doesn't stop, then you need to have the bird looked at as soon as you possibly can.
Okay, all right.
So basically when we trim the flight feathers, these are guard feathers, these are the flight feathers, these long feathers. So what we want to do is make these as short as possible, usually about the line with these feathers, so that the bird, when he tries to fly, he may be able to get a little bit of air, but he's not going to be able to go far,
right,
if at all.
Right. So. Now you were saying that, obviously we were kind of joking around that, this is a male, although his name is Lucy.
Right.
What did you say to me to basically, tell me how you sex a bird?
Well, now today, in today's technology, you can take feathers actually off the bird and send them to labs, and they do DNA testing, and they can tell you whether it's a male or a female.
Really? Okay.
So it's much simpler than it used to be.
Okay. Well, why don't we go ahead and I'll let you do what you do.
Okay. First, I'm guessing we'll trim the wings. I'm assuming they're all trimmed.
Right.
Okay.
Cut.
So anyway, usually I like to leave the last couple of feathers, 2 or 3 feathers on the outside, just to give the bird the looks of a wing, even though he's not really going to be able to fly. So we're just going to start cutting these. Again, we want to avoid this blood feather, which is this feather here. And there's another one there. You can see I guess it's not what it was. Cut that one too. And then there, the bird cannot fly like he normally would be able to, and yet when he puts these wings together, he's going to have a relatively normal looking wing.
So basically it's more aesthetics than anything else. Right. Okay, cool.
Same on this side, we always look for blood feathers first. Here's a more mature blood feather. You can see the thicker root. And then if I cut this shaft, it could bleed. So we want to try to avoid that. All the rest of them appear to be okay. So, which one was that? That one, so I know which one it is.
This one right here.
Small children, they could take these feathers and make Indian hats out of them.
Is that what you would do with your kids?
So they're going to be editing this? Because
I'm sorry, Native American hats.
Native American hats.
Sycamore hats.
Sycamore hats.
Oh, no, that's the tree now.
It is the tree.
Okay. Then the next thing we do is trim the toenails. I use a Dremel for this with the larger birds. You can trim the nails back with the Dremel and basically sand them back. And if you happen to get to the blood vein, which is usually right about in here, the Dremel will kind of cauterize the vessel as it goes through so it doesn't bleed. This just takes experience to know how far you're supposed to go. I usually go to about this level so that it starts to fill in underneath. And if you don't trim them, eventually if they're not wearing the nails down, they can grow around and in on themselves and they can injure themselves and cause pull that up, and then they can cause damage to their feet or have trouble pushing. They edit sound over this, well, like in video, and edit sound over too, right?
I'd imagine he'll probably Scott will work his magic.
Okay, and then the final trimming we normally do is the beak. This bird has an exceptionally long beak, and believe me, they hurt when they bite. You can see this bird, its beak has probably been trimmed back to this point at one point because that's where it breaks off. So what we'll do is we'll trim it back to that area. I'll round it off. I will take the Dremel and get some of this calcium deposits off of here, and then we'll take mineral oil on the beak to shine it up a little bit.
I pretty much read that, obviously they can crack a walnut pretty good. Hey, we're awake.
Show me Drew doing the edges.